If Shakur wants to pledge his future, then you make a significant investment. If it's a 2-3 fight deal, then he's going to be getting a lot of money and it's got to work for you as well. I think Shakur is pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world. He may be unbeatable, maybe.
Yeah.
He's that good. But I think he's been promoted terribly. And I think some of that is because when Bob knows a fighter's looking to leave, he's out. Like, this probably happened 2 or 3 fights ago because Bob would have looked to extend back then. Bob doesn't look to extend now with 1 fight to go because you've got no leverage to change the purses. So once he knew that Shakur wasn't going to extend, he's made his mind up. He's out. Oh, I'm not going to push him. So Shakur should be a massive star, but he's not. So that works for and against as well, in a sense that commercially, the money he's on a lot of money. For the revenue that he creates for the show, he's on a lot of money. But he hasn't been pushed to make him a commercial success. So I like him. I think he's a great fighter. I think he would be an incredible addition to the Matchroom team. And if he's available, we will definitely be having a conversation. Whether it works for both of us, we'll have to see.
Bob said, you said, Bob, that you're not willing to pay what he's paying Shakur. Is that true?
I said.
So I just watched an interview that. All right. So I just watched an interview that Eddie Hearns gave regarding some things in the industry, but I wanna comment on something he said about Shakur Stevenson and Top Rank. He said that Top Rank was doing a horrible job with I guess getting him fights and whatnot. My opinion is Top Rank has done a great job with Shakur Stevenson in getting him fights to the best of their ability. I mean, they're not going to be able to secure the fights with other promoters if other promoters don't want to secure the fight. You see, so he has to find the best fighters under the Top Rank banner that he can to face someone like Shakur Stevenson. I'm pretty sure there are fighters who have turned down the opportunity to fight a Shakur Stevenson. So, because when you think of a Shakur Stevenson, he's a great fighter to be, you know, and he has everything that the great fighters end up having at the end of their careers, right? By the end of their careers, that make them legendary, that make them great fighters, right? So, when you talk about a Shakur Stevenson, especially on Top Rank, you have to mention the names Floyd Mayweather. You have to mention the names Terrence Crawford. So let's take a look and see why I am saying that Top Rank has actually, as he approaches the end of his deal with Top Rank, let's take a look at why I'm saying that Top Rank has actually done a great job with Shakur Stevenson. Even though I want to see Shakur Stevenson go perform with Mayweather Promotions and PBC, I still believe that Top Rank did an excellent job with his career so far. Let me explain why. All right, first we'll look at Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather is going to be the cornerstone of a lot of things when you're talking about a Shakur Stevenson, when you're talking about Tank Davis, when you're talking about Devin Haney, when you're talking about Teofimo Lopez, when you're talking about Ryan Garcia, when you're talking about Canelo Alvarez, when you're talking Terrence Crawford. I mean, he is the cornerstone of everything boxing because he did a paradigm shift, right? He shifted the paradigm. His entire career shifted the paradigm of boxing. So he is the cornerstone. So let's go look at, but when you're talking about a Shakur Stevenson, the closest thing to what Shakur Stevenson might become is a Floyd Mayweather, is a Canelo Alvarez, is a Terrence Crawford. So let's go look at two fighters that were under the Top Rank banner and compare him to those two fighters. Also, let's keep in mind, let's also consider this. Top Rank has made twice the mistake of offending two great fighters. First, Floyd Mayweather. They couldn't secure the fight with De La Hoya. At the time, De La Hoya was the pay-per-view star at the time, and Floyd Mayweather wanted that fight with De La Hoya, but they couldn't secure the fight for him. So Floyd Mayweather jumped ship. He got out of there. He bought himself out of his deal. The best move he could ever make for boxing. But Top Rank made the mistake of not being able to secure that fight for him. Had they secured that fight for him, boxing probably would be a lot different today. So maybe the best thing for boxing was to not secure that fight for a Floyd Mayweather, so Floyd Mayweather could go off and do great things. I'll explain this when I get back to Shakur Stevenson. Now let's talk about Terrence Crawford. So that was mistake one. Now Terrence Crawford was mistake two. With Terrence Crawford, they messed up. They couldn't satisfy Terrence Crawford, so he took the legal approach, right? They lost. Top Rank lost in the courtroom. Terrence Crawford won, right? So mistake one, they messed up legacy-wise with Floyd Mayweather. And mistake two, they messed up legacy-wise. Oh, also financially, right? Because they could have made a lot of money with Floyd Mayweather. They could have went on to make a lot of money with Floyd Mayweather. And mistake two with Terrence Crawford, they made again financial mistake. They could have went on to make a lot of money with Terrence Crawford. They messed up the legacy part. He wanted to, fulfill his legacy. Had they treated him right, he probably would have stayed. And legally, he took him to court, right? So already they've made two mistakes. Now you talk about a Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson is going to be the fighter that they say, you know what, we messed up with these two fighters. We're going to get it right with Shakur Stevenson. So now let me go explain how that makes sense according to Shakur Stevenson's boxing record. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to look at Floyd Mayweather's record. So now what we have to do, we have to see, when did Floyd Mayweather get his first title fight? Floyd Mayweather got his first title fight at his 18th bout, right? Genaro Hernandez, 18th bout. Okay? Now, when did Terrence Crawford get his first title fight? Remember, both of these fighters were under Top Rank at this time. Not at the same time, but at the time of their first title fight. It was Top Rank who got them their first title fight. So Terrence Crawford gets his first title fight. Let me make sure I didn't skip anything. Terrence Crawford gets his first title fight at bout 21 against Alejandro Sanabria. You see? Fight 21. Now let's go look at Shakur Stevenson. When did Shakur Stevenson get his first title fight? Shakur Stevenson got his first title fight at bout 10. You see? That is a big improvement. First of all, Terrence Crawford, 21, fight 21, that's crazy. Now I understand why, he took him to court for the reasons he took him to court. Fight 21? Wow. But now, look at Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson gets his first title fight at his 10th bout. Now there's another thing we have to consider when we ask ourselves, has Top Rank done a good job with Shakur Stevenson's career? Now we have to look at the bouts themselves. Not the TKOs, not the KOs, but the unanimous decisions. So let's start from the title fight. All right, fight 18. And remember, Floyd Mayweather left Top Rank after his Zab Judah fight. That was fight 36. So his first title fight was fight 18. He left after fight 36. So that's 18 fights later. Okay? So now, unanimous decision after his first title fight is number 20. So that's 1. Right? 23 is 2. 26 is 3. 28 is 4. 29 is 5. 30 is 6. 32 is 7. And 36, Zab Judah, is 8. Now, why did I say unanimous decision? Unanimous decision is going to show you a good fight. It went the distance. It wasn't a TKO. It wasn't a KO. It went the distance. So you have 8 fights out of 18 fights going the distance after Floyd Mayweather becomes a world champion. You see, 8 out of 18. So 8 out of 18, I already did the math right here, 0.44. So you're talking about 44% of the fights after he becomes a world champion is a unanimous decision. So round that up, you're looking at more like, 50-50. So that's decent. That's decent. Now let's look at Terrence Crawford. Also, first, before we go to Terrence Crawford, I just want to show you how we just said it was 50-50. Now look at his knockouts. By knockout, 27. By decision, 23. That's almost 50-50, right? Now let's go look at Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford, remember, he got his first title fight at bout 21. Now let's count his unanimous decisions. 22 unanimous. 1, 2, 3 at 25. 4 at 29. All right, so 4 at 29. So we know he left Bob Arum after the Kell Brook fight. Not Kell Brook fight, but after the Sean Porter fight. So let's just say 4. So 4 out of, let me see, we got we got 21 and 21, we got 31. And then so we got 17 fights. 17 fights. Let me see. Did I say? Make sure I said that right. 21. Yeah. Let's make sure. I think it was after Sean Porter. 38. Okay, so yeah. So we got 17 fights. Out of 17 fights, 4 were unanimous decisions. 4. So 4 out of 17. 23% of his fights were unanimous decisions. So let's look at it like this. Let's say you are a big Terrence Crawford fan. You go to all of his fights and you pay to go see the fight. And not only do you pay to go see the fight, but you're like, let's say you got middle class income and you don't live in the areas where he fights. So you got to take a plane, right? So you spend all this money on preparing to leave for this fight, and you got to pay for your hotel, you got to pay for food, you got to pay for the night out, and you go to his fight, right? And as soon as the fight takes place, maybe 2 to 3 rounds later, it's over. You see? Every single time you go. And that's how you can describe this number. 23% of his fights were unanimous decision, meaning when you went to go see his fight, you did not sit there that entire fight. Now, if you're spending hard-earned money, you want to go see a good fight. You see? But even though you know it's Terrence Crawford, you want to see him knock somebody out. But as soon as you're going to the concession stand to get your food and coming back, he's already knocked this person out, type thing, right? So Floyd Mayweather, being a great fighter, almost 50% of the time, you can enjoy that fight all the way to the end. Get all of your money's worth. Right? Let's just say you're not a gambler, right? You're not gambling on the fight, so you're not trying to see, oh, he's going to knock him out in the 3rd round or the 6th round, or maybe it's the 8th. You're just going there to watch a fight, like just a true fan of a sport. So you want to watch the whole fight. You paid all this money to get there. You're paying all this money to be there, and you want to see the full fight. It's not going to be that way at a Terrence Crawford fight. You see? That's how good he is, by the way. But now let's go look at Shakur Stevenson. So fight 10, by the way, I don't know. It's like a seesaw. It's like yeah, he got fighters that he can knock out most of the time, and it only went to the scorecards 4 out of 17 times since he was a champion. But look how late he became a champion. He became a champion at his 21st bout. You see? How was it supposed to be? He was supposed to become a champion before Floyd Mayweather became a champion. You see? If not because he's a so-called, African American fighter, but because he's a great fighter. He's as great. He was already looked at to be as great as Floyd Mayweather. So now, if you're a promoter, you're trying to make him a champion before Floyd Mayweather becomes a champion, so he can do more in his career to see if he is greater than Floyd Mayweather. But anyway, let's go back to Shakur Stevenson. So his first title fight, his 10th bout. Now let's check his unanimous decisions. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unanimous decisions out of 11 fights. 7 out of 11. 63% of his fights have been fights to go to for a person who is probably not a gambler, probably someone who has to decide on buying a ticket to go see his fight or doing something else. So, like I said earlier, you shop for your outfit, you gotta travel to get there, and then you gotta have money for the night out, and then plus you bought the ticket. Maybe you went with some friends, right? So now when you're sitting there watching the fight, 63% of the time, you're going to enjoy that fight. You see? So that's a good bout. Not only is it a good fight to watch, not only are these bouts for Shakur Stevenson good bouts to watch, but he's also being tested, right? If he's saying he's a great fighter. No one's going to beat him. He's going to beat everybody you put in front of him. Yet 63% of his fights are going the distance. You see, he's being tested. This is what you want to see. You don't want to see a promoter put easy wins in front of a great fighter. That's what you don't want, because now when that fighter goes to fight somebody else who could be great, he loses easily because he hasn't been tested. So that's why I say Top Rank has done an excellent job with Shakur Stevenson's career thus far, because 63% of the time his fight goes the distance. You see? Also, keep in mind, by knockout, this is his entire career. By knockout, 10 fights. By decision, 11 fights. Once again, that's almost like Floyd Mayweather, 50-50. So who's closer to Floyd Mayweather? Shakur Stevenson, probably. You see? Now, another thing I want to add, even though Eddie Hearn said that Top Rank is doing a horrible job with Shakur Stevenson, I disagree. I still believe that Shakur Stevenson should be with someone else to take him to the next level. But I do not believe it should be DAZN, Matchroom, and Eddie Hearn, because I do not believe they can do what Floyd Mayweather, Al Heyman, and his manager Jay Prince can do for him at PBC and at Mayweather Promotions. I think he would be a king in that circle. I think he would make history in that circle. I think it would be more for the culture in that circle. I already believe Shakur Stevenson is probably, hands down, one of the greatest fighters to ever fight in boxing, and he hasn't even gotten started yet. The reason I believe this is because I listen to the things he says, I watch how he fights, and I listen to the things he says about himself. I listen to the things he says about other fighters. I watch how he fights. It's almost a reflection of a Floyd Mayweather. And I just see him in that spot sometime in the near future and being greater than him. But if he can go over there to that circle, it would be historic. Because remember, it was Jay Prince who got Floyd out of that deal with Top Rank, and then Floyd was able to do for himself a little later on, right? And then Al Heyman helped him with his business, and Leonard Ellerbe helped him run his business, right? So if he is to go fight with Floyd Mayweather, arguably one of the greatest fighters to ever step in a ring, if he is to go fight with him under his with his banner, right? Of course, someday having his own promotional company like Floyd Mayweather, but if he is to go fight with him, pick his brain, right? It's different. It's a difference between studying someone through film and studying someone as one of their students. You see, it's a big difference. It's a chemistry thing. If you get a Floyd Mayweather with a Shakur Stevenson and sharpening his IQ and even just being around him, it builds his confidence, it builds his IQ, it builds his awareness, even with his business, even the things he's probably already thought about. Floyd Mayweather can add to that pot, right? And sharpen things for him, and he can see things differently. That's who I think Shakur Stevenson is. I think he's the next guy. Another thing, he already is with Jay Prince. So imagine combining Jay Prince with Al Heyman, Floyd Mayweather. The sky's the limit for Shakur Stevenson. Thank you for watching this video. Help this channel grow by sharing, liking, and subscribing. Also, follow us on X at Consider This AMC.